Here we go, spawning in the top left-hand corner of Babylon. We have the blue Zerg player representing the Juggernauts. The best player in all of Hong Kong. It is GogojOey. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Babylon, we have his opponent. We have the Chinese Terran player representing Mystery Gaming. It is Oriana. Here we go. A bit of a rematch in a way. I believe they did face off in the finals of GPO number 87, if I recall correctly. Let me just double check that. GPO 87. I think they played in the finals. Yes. So Oriana did make it into the finals, the last edition of this, or in number 87 of this tournament, where he did end up falling to GogojOey 3-1 in the best of 5 grand finals. But if you remember, a lot of that, or a big reason for that, is because Oriana was just cheesing his heart out because he had to go to an exam. He was in the middle of class, and class was starting and he had to go, so he just very quickly, went for like proxies almost every single game, except for game 1. Game 1 was a macro game, and every game after that was just cheese. And I don't blame Oriana, he did kind of have classes to go to, so I don't blame him at all. But this time he has a little bit more freedom, he's not on a timer, he's not on a clock, but despite that, he is going for a 2 racks opener. Oh boy. Here we go, and I'm curious to see if he's going to be committing to Reaper production. So there are 2 ways to go about this. We either go up to 3 Reapers, and then we transition into add-ons, and there we go. We do have that reactor on the way. We are going to be delaying our CC by quite a bit here in favor of being very aggressive. There we go, our first Reaper is moving out. And it looks like we're not going up to 3. We're going to be cutting at 2 Reapers and then going straight into our Tech Lab and Reactor to go into a follow-up bio push. Interesting. As Reaper makes his way across the map, behind this, GogojOey did go for a hatch gas pool. Standard opener from our Zerg player. Nothing too crazy. Reapers are going to be dipping in between the bases, just getting an eye on things, confirming the 3rd base timing, slipping into the main, and yeah, looking to just make sure that everything is normal. And I don't blame Oriana. He just played against me and Micah, like he just got 2 ace muted. And before that, he went up against a pool first into a roach push. So Oriana has been a little bit scarred. I'm sure he's breathing freely. He's like, oh, thank God. I'm up against someone who's playing normally. Standard opener. He's crazy. This guy is wild as, ooh, a nice snipe on that creep tumor. Oriana utilizing these Reapers very well. They'll be dancing with those queens. Has to be careful not to overextend. As back at home, we have a 2-1-1 setup. Of course, because of the 2 racks opener, it does mean that these upgrades are going to hit a little bit faster. It does mean that we're going to be able to get into marine production faster as well. So this is going to hit harder than it usually does. I'm curious as to when this will hit, because a standard 2-1-1 hits at 5 minutes. But this may hit a little bit sooner, as we already have that starport on the way, and we're going to be going for that add-on swap. I'm curious to see kind of how many more Marines we have to work with, if any. So first 2 Reapers are zooming across the map again, just trying to see what they can, confirming no additional gases, keeping these queens busy as GogojOey is just droning up. At the 4-minute mark, he does go for his Overlord Scout and he confirms the add-ons. He knows at least it's a 2-1-1. It could be a 3 racks. Quickly checking, he did see the starport and the factory, so knows it is a 2-1-1. He has confirmation. And this is hitting a little bit faster. At the 4 minutes 30 mark, he moves out across the map. We have our medevacs on the way. These medevacs are rallied across the map to meet up with these Marines. This is very Bjorn-esque. Bjorn does typically move out prematurely and meet up with the medevacs a little bit later on. But without these medevacs, he can't really engage too hard here, as it looks like GogojOey is getting ready. He's got his queens. pumping out. He's got his Lings on the way as well. He's cut workers at 55, which is a very respectable drone count to cut workers. And this 2-on-1 shouldn't find too much damage. Ideal scenario, we cancel the 4th. But the queens have arrived. We have enough energy for a transfuse, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. Oh, here we go. We do have that target firing. There's that transfuse that we were talking about. Well, the queens do target fire those medevacs, but 1 and 2 queens go down. Pretty good trade so far. Can we get more? As the Lings do go for a surround, the queens target firing those medevacs, but the stutter stepping is too good. The Lings do fall. And Oriana is trying to break on through, but it looks like he barely doesn't have enough. The 4th base survives, and GogojOey does lose some queens, but we can afford to lose queens if we hold on to the 4th. GogojOey does survive, and even sniped the medevac. I should have put a little bit more emphasis on that. Like, losing the medevac was massive. That will slow down the follow-up push, as Oriana is pumping out more Marines, working on more medevacs, more tanks as well. Only 1 NG base, so Oriana has delayed his 3rd base by quite a bit. There is no 3rd at all. This is looking like a 2-base all-in. He's looking to try and catch GogojOey droning, and GogojOey was droning at least a little bit. Droned up to around 60 workers. Baneling speed is on the way, but it's not done yet. +1 carapace will complete for this push, but we need more Banes. Oh, and GogojOey's being greedy. He's going up into an infestation pit. Oh my god. Scary stuff, as Oriana has a pretty intense army. He's gonna stim on forward, trying to focus down all these queens, and it looks like he should be able to. GogojOey tries to catch some reinforcements, but there are none. There we go, GogojOey getting ready to come in from behind. And the surround has been set up. The tanks are exposed. The Banes are rolling on forward. Good target firing from the tanks. They do focus on the Banes. Ooh, the Marines as well. Decent trades from Oriana, but he did lose the tanks. On top of that, this 3rd CC is very late. A very late 3rd. It's on the way at least, so Oriana isn't all in by any means. But, ideally, he was looking to do a little bit more damage. Hot pickup on the right-hand side. Does trade out with those Lings. Does back off in the end. At the same time, we have another double drop here on the left. Oriana trying to flex his multi-prong. His multitasking, even. We go. The drop is head towards the natural base, but the Lings are here to meet them. There's a tank? Oh my god. Very committed double drop here. As the queens are left completely exposed. 1, 3, 4 queens go down. I know, I skipped 2. I had to keep up. 4 queens falling. That is an amazing pickoff here, as we are down to only 3 queens. Not even enough to inject all 4 bases. GogojOey being pulled apart here by the drop play. Up. Almost gets a tank. Blackwest Oriana does pay attention, doesn't lose too much on either side, but GogojOey, he feels the pressure. He's going for a counterattack. The Ling Bane runs into the reinforcements. Oh, but we don't care. The Banelings, they run past the tanks. Ooh, actually connecting with the tanks. I thought we were going for the Mineral Iron, but no, there we go. Both tanks go down. That was a rough trade. Like, we got both tanks, which is nice, but GogojOey did detonate a lot of Banelings on said tanks. Not the best trades. Not the most efficient trades from GogojOey. But because he killed 2 tanks, that means that Oriana's next push is going to be that much weaker. It means that GogojOey needs less to defend, as we do see that 5th base on the horizon. I spoke too soon. That's going to be a cancel. Does cancel in time. Marines are stim on forward into Lingbane. Does lose a couple of Marines there. GogojOey is getting ready for another counterattack. Is going to be spotted by Oriana. A decent split overall against the Lingbane. Meanwhile, with that fast infestation pit, we saw GogojOey was being a little bit greedy, is going for Adrenal, is setting up for 3-3, is just going mass Ling Bane. No anti-air, no Spire, no Hydras. Because of that, this drop play has been finding a lot of success, right? We've been relying on Queens, and the Queens were killed earlier. Oh, and I love going into Liberators here. Because of the lack of anti-air, these Liberators are going to be such a pain for GogojOey to deal with. Before that happens, this time there is nothing at home to defend. The Ling Bane is going to get so much damage. We break the third. We're going into the natural. Oriana is committed. He has to make this push work as GogojOey is breaking into the natural base. He's going to be able to get into the mineral line. Up. He goes into the main. A little bit greedy, to be honest, but damage is being done nonetheless. Meanwhile, Oriana, he's got to make this push work. His economy is in shambles right now. Oriana is down to only 26 workers. And the Lings are camping the production. All GogojOey has to do is survive. He can give up a base. He can give up 2 bases. He can give up 3 bases. He just has to build up enough Ling Bane to swallow up this army. As the Lings are still wreaking havoc in the main. GG gets called. And GogojOey takes game number 1. We didn't even have a final fight there. Oriana, his hand was forced. Was doing a good job keeping up for a lot of that game. Even had a higher army supply at the end, but didn't have anything at home to defend. The Ling counterattack forced him all in, and GogojOey had all the time in the world to rebuild his army and defend. GG. Close game. Close game. Oh, do I show the... Yeah, I'll show it. This is the worker graph. Ugh. Ay. Feels bad, man. It feels bad. So Oriana plummeted in the SCVs, but here we go. We are now getting into game number 2. Oh. Potentially the final game of this series. Potentially. Here we go, spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Gresvan. We have the best player in all of Hong Kong, the Blue Zerg, representing the Juggernauts, up 1-0 in this series and one game away from advancing onto the grand finals. It is GogojOey. And spawning in the top left-hand corner of Gresvan, we have his opponent. We have the Red Terran from the land of China. One game away from being eliminated from the tournament. He has to win this game and the next to have his rematch in the finals. It is Oriana. I just love saying Oriana. It's a good name. I appreciate it. Let's go, Papi. Let's go. Again, we had a really interesting opener in that last game. A 2-Rax opener into a 2-1-1, which did snowball, and Oriana was finding a lot of damage, if you remember. He was able to trade so well against the Ling Bane. He was able to snipe some queens, but he had a hard time defending against the counterattacks. The Ling Bane counterattacks were really setting him back. He was losing tanks, he was losing SCVs. Again, he was eventually forced all in as well. He was in a really, really precarious situation towards the end of game 1. If he had somehow kept some reinforcements back at home, then he would have been in a much better position. Whether it's keeping reinforcements at home, or maybe it's even, having some spotters out on the map. I think that's a little bit more difficult in that situation. But regardless, it was a good game nonetheless, and I can't wait here for game number 2 for it to get underway. As a massive shout out to Asher Bro. Thank you so much, Asher Bro, for the raid, a fellow Cranky Duckling Quack. Hope you enjoyed your cast. For those who don't know, Asher, He does usually cast alongside me, but today he was hosting a show match over on his channel. It was a show match between two Australian players, Chappie and Azure, and that's why, of course, they weren't in today's tournament. They were settling some beef amongst themselves in a grudge match, which I was able to catch the beginning of. I don't know how it ended. I hope it was good games, though. I hope it was some good banter. Good banter. Hope you had a great time. Thank you so much for the raid. Rest up, Papi. Get some food. Get some food. Papi, get some food. Take care. Take care. Oh! Ooh. As we do see Oriana dancing with the lings of GogojOey, almost gets that tumor in the end. Meanwhile, back at home, we have a much more standard opener here. We didn't skip our Marine either this time. You love to see it. If you remember, Oriana was punished for skipping the Reaper against Miyamaika, and things got out of hand very quickly. But this time, we're going to be able to get into our third CC before Starport opener, a much more economic opener from Oriana here in Game 2. More economic, more macro-oriented. Meanwhile, GogojOey, he's been able to get up to 3 bases, has been able to keep his creep tumors alive, hasn't lost too much, lost a Ling, I believe, yep, only 1 Ling, and has been able to just macro up on 3 bases. So nothing crazy out of GogojOey either. And again, this is what I'm talking about. Like, when it comes to the craziness that is Southeast Asian Zerg players, at least here in ZvT, GogojOey is a lot more standard. He is a lot more, you know, by the book. He does go for some roach all-ins. More often than not, I think we've seen him go for like 66 drones, just pure roach ling and just ape into his opponent and kill them. Like, he's willing to do stuff like that. But when it comes to the craziness of Miyamaika going like 2 base muta or like spawning pool into roach, into like a 9 roach push or something, like that's just not really GogojOey's forte. Forte's a Terran player. Or he was a Terran player. I miss Forte. Forte was so wholesome. So he was like Jinio back in the day. Or he's like Jinio now, but back in the day. As Oriana, oh, he's just gonna bypass the queens entirely. He's diving into the mineral line as well. The lings are being roasted. The boys are being pulled. We ignore the boys at the natural. We go straight into the main instead. Ooh, and a workers will fall. GogojOey just out of position, wasn't able to keep tabs on those Hellions, and did not have enough links to hold. 9 drones go down. 9 drones, 4 lings for 4 Hellions. Pretty well worth it here for Oriana. There is a bit of a give and take, right? He got a lot of economic damage, which is good, but he loses map control, which is bad, right? Because of this, we can spread creep freely. You know, we have the Zerg player has the map control at this point and can do whatever they want. We see a bit of a counterattack as well. There are no Hellions to protect that 3rd base, and the Lings are going to be able to chip away at it, but thankfully there are no SCVs in sight. Only 1. Only 1. Behind this, we're getting into our 5 rack setup. 5 racks, a factory, a starport. Pretty standard stuff here from Oriana, nothing too crazy. Once we get our medevacs out, then we can start going for some drop play, which we saw Oriana use to great effect last game. Oh, Oriana does lose a very fresh mule and an SCV as well. GogojOey, such an opportunistic player. He just seizes the moment and dives on in. A great way to deal some counter damage after losing so many drones. And we're going to be going old school. This time it's not 2 base muta like what we saw from Miyamaika. This time we have 1-1 into Aspire. So we're not going to be hyper focused on muta production. These mutas are just designed for some map control overall. Shutting down the medevacs. We're still going to be committing quite hard into the Lingbane though. So Lingbane muta. A pretty old school composition. And a composition we don't see enough of nowadays. So I'm happy to see it. Very happy. Feels good, man. Feels good. As Oriana is looking to drop into the main base. This is scouted by GogojOey's Overlords. GogojOey is fully aware, is in position. We're going to be shaving off quite a number of lings. The Banelings don't get any detonations, and we only lose 2 Marines. So a good trade overall here by Oriana. Able to get, oh my god, more than 10 lings there. Not too bad. Meanwhile, as we have our double drop set up here towards the south, we have another double drop going towards the north. This one actually has a couple of widow mines mixed in as well. So a lot of potential here in this drop. GogojOey, we saw him struggling to deal with this last game. We'll see if he has a little bit more success in game 2. Up! Oh, as we do have a couple of Marines left behind this time. A couple more, I should say, as Oriana didn't have enough room left over. Meanwhile, that was a cancel on the 4th base. Sorry, on the 5th base. Not too bad. Mines have borrowed, and they're going to be going up. Ooh. A little bit of friendly fire, but mainly Lings do go down. 14 kills on this mine. At the same time, the double drop across the map. Did I say double drop? It looks like one of the medevacs did go down. It actually died to the Spore. The Spore does have 1 kill. A little bit brutal there. Big loss for Oriana. Losing a full medevac to the drop. Oh, not again! No! Oh! Again, Oriana just being a little bit overzealous. 2 more medevacs go down, or 2 medevacs did go down there to those spores. Likewise, the medevacs are being cleaned up as well. The mutas have arrived, and GogojOey is shutting them down. This is the power of the muta, and I do appreciate this as an adaptation to the series overall. We saw GogojOey struggling to deal with drops in game 1. Here in game 2, mutas just shut them down. Let's be careful, there is a mine mixed in here. Here we go, the mutas, they take down the add-ons. They go toe-to-toe with the Marines as well. Not enough Marines here to fight this. So we trade and lose only a single muta. Meanwhile, the mines are in the mineral lines, so GogojOey has to be careful. Some Marines that do force him back. And with this map control, GogojOey has been able to drone up to 82 workers. His economy is booming, double expanding as we speak, taking a macro hatchery as well. GogojOey is in full control right now, and Oriana, after losing those drops, is on the back foot. Is going Ling Bane, which is good, but he doesn't have the numbers as GogojOey's max, and he's looking to just roll into the bases of Oriana. Massive mine shot does go off, but only a single mine. And GogojOey, he's getting ready for a surround. And here we go. He dives on forward. Mines are borrowed. How good are the connections going to be? The mines, they get dragged away. The Banelings will find detonations on the Marines, on the Planetary, on the SCVs even. And we want some more damage. We go towards the 3rd base. We head into the natural as well. Banelings in every single mineral line. The mutas are fighting toe-to-toe with the Marines, which I'm not too sure about, but it looks like there just aren't enough Marines anyway. The mutas do reign supreme. Eventually, GogojOey is forced back. But only after doing so much damage. 35 SCVs. 35 SCVs do go down. The Marine count was almost reset. So many mines fell as well. And GogojOey can back off, remax, rebuild, and go again. That's going to be the goal here for GogojOey. Oh, he's actually lacking some gases, though. So he's going to have a hard time rebuilding that Ling Bane. Oh my god. As he takes 2 massive mine shots to the face. You know, something going Oriana's way, but alas, Oriana needs more than just a couple of mines. As that remax on Ling Bane is upon us. Up. Up. As individual mines are going down left and right, so Ling Bane is getting ready to crash into that Planetary. The Planetary did survive the first wave, but I can't say the same about the second. Not this time. Planetary does go down. Mines do borrow. Good detonations. Ooh. But a better drag. GG gets called, and GogojOey in game 2 shuts down the drop play, overwhelms with Ling Bane Muta, and takes the series. GG, well played. Congratulations to GogojOey as he does advance on to the grand finals. My condolences to Oriana. He looked pretty good, and again, game 1 was close. Game 1 was actually pretty damn close. It was a solid performance from both of our players. Here in game 2, GogojOey was able to spread his wings, take to the skies with his mutas, and have a lot more freedom overall after shutting down all those medevacs, after droning up quite heavily as well, unhindered. Again, a stronger performance from GogojOey in game number 2, and yeah, I hope to see more of Oriana in the coming weeks. Oriana has become a regular when it comes to the Chinese participants that we have in our tournaments. Oriana is there week after week, always on that grind, always looking to prove himself. So yeah, always happy to see him, always willing to cuss him as well. He's a nice guy, nice guy. Yeah, I look forward to seeing him in the next edition of GPO in a couple of weeks. Meanwhile, GogojOey, we have a rematch upon us. GogojOey advances on here and is going to be facing Miyamaika in the grand finals. They faced earlier in the day, where Miyamaika was able to bring GogojOey down 2-0. So GogojOey is going to be looking for some of that revenge. He wants to try and bounce back, and that's what I'm looking for. Redeem himself, that's it. Bounce back and redeem himself. Oh boy. Let's go. Until that time, though, as we set up for the grand finals, we're going to be going on a short break. When we return... Oh, I need to get some water. So everyone, don't forget to hydrate your hydras, stretch your roaches, massage all your marines, and drain your disruptors, as we're going to be back in 5 minutes with the grand finals. See you then.